and we really are going to need your help. But let me talk to you about somebody who I have been a friend of for a long time. I grew up in a world where I never knew famous people, and I do remember the first time I was introduced to Jessye Norman. Whether she was impressed, I have no idea. She's never said no, so I'll take it that way. Our special guest knows a thing or two about living out your dreams. She has had a career of over 40 years. She has established herself as one of the greatest American singers of all time. She has graced the stages of New York's Carnegie Hall and the Met many times, and she really is revered around the world. She has won just about every award, including 5 Grammys. And the French Légion d'honneur. And in 1997, she became the youngest artist ever to win a prestigious Kennedy Center honor. So, ladies and gentlemen, a nice, warm round of applause. The magnificent Jessye Norman.
Thank you so very much, Mayor Bloomberg. I'm honored and delighted to be with you this evening and to receive your very generous recognition. Thank you. I offer my most humble thanks. It's wonderful to see all of you. Arthur O'Shaughnessy wrote in his single poem, which is dedicated to artists of all stripes and persuasions, everywhere, and I quote, "We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams, wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams, world losers and world forsakers on whom the pale moon gleams. Yet, we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems," end quote. To live artfully is to me the whole purpose of life's journey. For you all know that creativity, artful living, equal self-knowledge. This knowledge can lead to wisdom, and wisdom to the understanding of others. And this understanding undoubtedly leads to tolerance. Tolerance and compassion for those around us and those oceans away, who after all possess the same depth of spirit as we. And in this modern society, art may be the only force that invites this model for living. Movers and shakers of the world, indeed. Let's all try it. Art brings us together as a family because it is an individual expression of universal human experience. We have so much more in common than we acknowledge. Expressions through art come from that part of us that is without fear, prejudice, malice, or any of the other things that we create in order to separate ourselves one from the other. Art makes us whole by insisting that we use all of our senses, our heads and our hearts, that we express with our voices, our hands, our bodies, as well as with our minds. We are all the better for art being a part of our lives. My gratitude this evening extends much farther than this august circumstance, this special moment for me personally, on to those whose amazingly courageous spirits, talents, and abilities came before the public under the most challenging of circumstances, but who, undaunted, carried on in spite of obstacles that we can only with difficulty imagine. The ancestors. They opened the doors and turned on the lights so that subsequent generations could more easily find their way. They opened the doors and turned on the lights. It is my privilege to curate Honor, Carnegie Hall's festival celebrating the contribution of African Americans to the legacy of this great and grand institution and to the cultural mosaic of this world. Yes, this is a big idea, and our plans will be the realization of a very big dream. Honor. This word has meaning on many levels. We are presented the opportunity and duty to remember those trailblazers, those icons of the past, whose shoulders those of us of African American descent are humbled and proud to stand. Carnegie Hall, which from its inception has been aware of its responsibility to present performances that represent the whole of our nation, and indeed the world, in all its stupendous diversity and myriad accomplishments and the many worlds of music. Carnegie Hall is taking up yet a new challenge: to give voice, recognition, and yes, honor to those who have helped to inspire what music has thus far become. What graphic art and sculpture, writing from the depths of the soul and dancing from the inside out, what all of this really means when viewed through the lens of the African American imprint. Our purpose is to recall their names, to offer them our thanks, to know when they lived, how they educated themselves, what determination and magnificent courage they brought to bear. They had to. We shall acknowledge that jazz, the blues, gospel, rhythm and blues, hip-hop, and most other forms and designations in the popular music world owe all, or at least the major part of their foundation to this seminal, this true African American art form, the spiritual. We shall explore this idea and make it plain. Yes, for this is indeed the well from which many an artistic thirst has been satisfied. Come with us and share in these celebrations commencing on March 4th and continuing through until March 23rd. Events will take place on the stages of Carnegie Hall, of course, but also at the Apollo Theater and the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. There will be wonderful educational components for our young people as well as for the rest of us. Exhibitions, all kinds of things for you to enjoy. Please join us, for both the journey and the destination are bound to be instructive and full of nourishment for the mind and for the spirit. Allow me to close with these words of George Bernard Shaw, which explain so vividly how I feel this evening, and which express the philosophy for my life in general, and probably yours as well. He wrote, "I am of the opinion that one's life belongs to the community, and that as long as I live, I shall do for it whatever I can. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I am permitted to hold for a moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it over to future generations. I thank you, dear Mayor Mike, for your support of our big idea and for thereby adding a bit more fuel to my fire. We are all encouraged to hold the torch of life ever higher. Thank you.